He says he's being threatened over the Epstein file and Americans are reacting. A lot of Americans online have been reacting to a message posted by Thomas Massie. In his post, he said he's receiving threats and that his life might actually be in danger. And the reason people are connecting this to something bigger is because he hinted at knowing information related to Epstein files. Now, whether you agree with him politically or not, when someone says they feel threatened, that's not something to just brush off. That's serious. Some people online are praying for him. Others are saying, if you feel unsafe, protect yourself, leave. Do whatever you need to do. And then there are people saying, if you have the truth, speak it. The public deserves transparency. And honestly, you can feel the tension in the reaction. Some people are concerned. Some people are skeptical. Some people feel like there is more to the story. So in this video, I put together some clips showing how Americans are responding, and we're going to talk through it calmly and respectfully. My name is Faith, and you're welcome back to Chats with Faith. If this is your first time here, I'm glad you found this channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a conversation. And as always, credit goes to the original creators for every single clip used in this episode. Disclaimer, this channel is for educational purpose and awareness. Is not to hate or discriminate anyone. The goal is to have honest and respectful conversation. Let's chat.
Have you wondered why Thomas Massie, who's one of the most conservative Republicans in Congress, has been so outspoken about releasing the Epstein files? Yeah, me too. And I heard him in a podcast this past week that gave me some clues as to what actually is going on. Take a listen and see if you heard what I heard.
At that point, I realized she has no intention of ever releasing any more files. And so I had to go back and tell my girlfriend the next day, guess what? She said there's nothing left.
Did you hear that? So this was from a podcast called Free the People, and Massie talked at length about why he's decided to really push on releasing the files. And he talked about a lot of conversations that he had with his then fiance, now wife, about this. Listen again, and I'll give you a little bit more context. Comment below why you think Massie has been so outspoken.
Really happened back at the DOJ when Pam Bondi invited Jim Jordan and all the other Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee to come over for dinner. And before I went there, it was actually my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, suggested, I said, Jim Jordan told us we each get to ask one question of Pam Bondi, that she'll take questions. And I said, what do you think I should ask? And she said, ask her when the next phase of those binders is coming out. And I said, I'm not going to do that. This is a cordial dinner. But as the day got nearer, I decided that is what I should do. As I started looking at what wasn't getting released, and so she was making more and more statements in the public, I asked the question. I asked Pam Bondi, when could we expect to see the next tranche of these files? And she told me that all that was left was child, and it was really disgusting, and nobody wanted to see that kind of stuff. I just at that point I realized she has no intention of ever releasing any more files. And so I had to go back and tell my girlfriend the next day, guess what? She said there's nothing left. After having said there was, tons of this stuff on her desk that she had found. So that was the seed that eventually germinated later that summer. That became the Epstein files transparent.
So Thomas Massie has been forced to say, I'm not suicidal after forcing the release of the Epstein files. The guy is a national hero at this point, doing the good thing that many in our government would not do. And he puts out this tweet. He says, I am not suicidal. I eat healthy food. The brakes on my car and truck are in good shape. I practice good trigger discipline and never point a gun at anyone, including myself. There are no deep pools of water on my farm, and I'm a pretty good swimmer. I mean, the fact he has to even say this is where we're at in society right now. I mean, they are not going to be able to oust Thomas Massie. The establishment, which happens to be Trump, part of the deep state, the swamp, is doing everything that they possibly can to oust Thomas Massie, to get rid of him. He is unbelievably popular, not going anywhere, doing the work that we expect people to be doing, which they're not. He's the only one. And he has to then come out and say, yeah, so I'm not suicidal, FYI, to everybody. I mean, just unbelievable. Ro Khanna says something similar, although he says, I'm not worried for my physical safety, honestly. The truth is more nuanced. balanced. Big money tries to destroy a person's career and reputation. They did to Marjorie Taylor Greene. In Washington, you rise by keeping your head down and not making enemies. Massie and I are unafraid to challenge power. Thank goodness we have these guys. They should be running the entire country. They should be the ones in charge. This is how we really truly drain the swamp. It is with Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna. When are these guys going to join together and run for president? They should run on a joint ticket. I think that this would unite people. They would get a lot of votes. They could run on an independent ticket, the Thomas Massie, Ro Khanna ticket. I'm all for it. I'm totally all for it. I think it's the only way forward with this country, because everybody else, no matter how many times we vote to try to hope that we're draining the swamp or making change, we end up with the same bullshit over and over and over again.
Representative Tom Massie, who is a Republican out of Kentucky, took to his social media to let it be known after reading the unredacted Epstein files. If something were to happen to him, please remember, number one, he said he is not suicidal. Number two, he said he eats healthy all the time. Number three, he said that he is a great swimmer. Number four, he said that the brakes on his car and truck are in good condition. And overall, when it comes to having a GUN, he said he's very disciplined. But see, it has gotten to this. The people that want to hold these monsters responsible, they have to feel threatened. And they have to put information out like this. It should not be about this. And one day these monsters will pay. So obviously this man, he's kind of fearing for his life. No, kinda, it sounds like he is, to put that type of information out there. So just remember, he did put those things out there for people to know.
Thomas Massie. So let's make him the supreme leader of America. Imagine you're asking the Attorney General of the United States about the largest criminal investigation in United States history, and she wants to talk about the Dow or the NASDAQ, and then she's confused as to how you find that irrelevant. She's not the head of the Fed or the head of some economic committee. She's the top legal authority in the United States, and she wants to speak on the Dow. And I'll tell you why. It's because they're all on the same team. All these people behind closed doors, after the performance, you know what they're doing? They're making out with each other. They're cheating on each other's wives and husbands. When Trump talked about draining the swamp, that's what the swamp is. And when a country is led by degenerates, the nation will degenerate. So while we're all excited about Epstein and the emails, 3 million emails, redacted, unredacted, we all know the reality. We all know the truth, but we have to pretend to be serious. We're serious people. Is there proof? Is there conclusive proof? Is there evidence to suggest A, B, C, D? Everyone knows what these people are. And you know what? You think there's only one Jeffrey? You think Jeffrey Epstein was the only one doing all this? There's hundreds of these guys, and they're all operating. And one of these operatives is who? Well, Jared Kushner, who's supposed to be saving us in Ukraine and Russia and Iran and Gaza. He's saving us from everything. But where does he come from? Who's his father? Well, his father is great friends with Benjamin Netanyahu, and Tim Dillon points this out. And you know why he went to jail? Well, he wanted to use blackmail against his own brother-in-law, who's married to his sister Esther. And you know how he did that? Well, how else do you coerce your brother-in-law into doing something that you want? You send him a prostitute, and then you record it. That's how these people operate. Nations are not run by the people. They're run through blackmail. Nations are run by personal interests. And currently, there's an overproduction of elites. There isn't just one king at the top. And this class of elites is having an internal battle, but a working relationships. So while we hate and fight our own families and friends and communities on their behalf, they have a working relationship behind closed doors, and they set us against each other for their personal interests. So even though they'll have disagreements and they might want to have more power than the next guy, they won't send each other to jail. Do you really believe that the cameras weren't working and the guards fell asleep, and now we're being told that he's a Russian spy? You can't make this up. But nonetheless, we'll never see real justice for any of those women and girls that were abused. And we'll never see justice for America that's being blackmailed until the swamp is truly drained and the system is emptied out. Think about it. With all the emails and all the names listed, forget a prosecution. There hasn't even been one investigation into any of those names. And you know why that is? It's because they're all on the same team. They're just having an internal struggle for who will have more power. Because they view themselves above the law. And an attack on one of them is a threat to all of them. But once in a while, they'll throw us a little crumb to quiet the masses. And that's why Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, but the warden is her personal secretary, providing her with a puppy and gourmet meals. And who really still believes that Epstein ended his life in prison? And with that said, one of the few men who hasn't been contaminated by the swamp, and why the swamp has turned against him so viciously, is Thomas Massie. So let's make him the supreme leader of America.
Representative Thomas Massie put out a statement about his love for life and all the things that aren't broken in his life. Let's look at it. I eat healthy food. The brakes on my car and truck are in good shape. I practice good discipline and never point a weapon at anyone, including myself. There are no deep pools of water on my farm, and I'm a pretty good swimmer. This is the second sitting congressperson that has put out a statement essentially making certain that the whole world knows they would never do anything to themselves. Nancy Mace put out one yesterday. Thomas Massie put out this one yesterday. And if you remember, Marjorie Taylor Greene put out a similar type of statement a couple months ago before she resigned from Congress. There is something that all three of them have seen in the files that has made them believe that this administration cannot be trusted and would attempt to do something to them. Thomas Massie and Nancy Mace have actually seen the unredacted files. Marjorie Taylor Greene just saw a portion of them. And all three of them came to the same conclusion, that because they're Republicans and they've spoke out against this administration, with what they're seeing in the files, they have to fear for their safety. So they're putting out statements so that nobody makes them look like they did something to themselves. They want it clear to the world. They would never do that.
So Representative Thomas Massie, he's actually the representative of my district here in Kentucky, apparently received a flash drive with all of the files completely unredacted. And his words were, if this gets out completely unredacted, the entire system is coming down. He goes as far as to say as every person is implicated, every person of power is implicated, and that it has been basically Jeffrey Epstein over the years blackmailing all of these top political figures and billionaires and getting them on a blackmail list. So, yeah, I'm ready to watch it burn.
I'm going to tag him in this video. But this message is for you, Thomas Massie. And only Thomas Massie. So help me get this to him. I'm going to tag him, but as my representative in Kentucky, I am proud of what you are doing. I am proud that you are the only one in this house of cards that is okay with watching it crumble if that's what it takes to expose these terrible people. And I can vouch for every single Kentuckian when I say this, we have your fucking back. It's your obligation to release this information for us. Freedom of information. We deserve to know those names. We deserve to know those names. The victims deserve to have their perpetrators out in the limelight just like they are. At the very least. Do the right thing, Thomas.
Hey, just a quick note. This kind of post from a sitting Congress member is not normal. This is not normal. This is Representative Thomas Massie. He's a Republican, but he's been one of the Congress members who has been really pushing for the release of the Epstein files, along with Ro Khanna. And he had to just post this to Twitter. I am not suicidal. I eat healthy food. The brakes on my car and truck are in good shape. I practice good trigger discipline and never point a gun at anyone, including myself. There are no deep pools of water on my farm, and I'm a pretty good swimmer. Okay, so if you're confused about what this means, it's that people are concerned that Thomas Massie is going to not survive the next few days, weeks, whatever, because he has been so outspoken about the Epstein files. And so he's posting this to say, hey, I'm not suicidal. If I end up dead, it's not because I did it to myself. It's because I was targeted. It's because I wanted to speak out and they wanted to silence me. This is not a normal thing for a sitting Congress member to have to say when he's speaking about his own government. This is where we're
at. Thomas Massie, are you gonna be okay, or do you need to escape the country? Y'all peep these shit. So, Thomas Massie, for those of y'all who don't know who this is the guy that got a hold of the EpiPen files completely unredacted. You know what's sad as hell? Every time government officials about to come out and say some bullshit, like bullshit that's going on with the government and everything like that, why the fuck do they gotta type these type of messages? Let me put my glasses on. As y'all can see, I'm blind as a goddamn bat. Let's read this together. And Thomas Massie, we praying for you, baby. Lord have mercy. I am not suicidal. I eat healthy food. The brakes on my car and truck are in good shape. I practice good trigger discipline and never point a gun at anyone, including myself. There are no dead pools of water on my farm, and I'm a pretty good swimmer. Why the fuck do we have to post that? Like, seriously. Why the fuck do he have to post that shit? Why? Because he's seen what the unredacted version of them fucking files look like? Like, there should be no reason for this shit. So with that being said, are you going to be okay, Thomas Massie? Like, for real, because now I'm worried for you. Like, I'm sincerely fucking worried. So now that begs the question. Let's say you post this shit up, and then the rest of us start posting this shit up. If you can imagine what could happen to him, what do you think gonna happen to the rest of us? Like, now I'm starting to think, are they going to use airstrikes against Americans because we gonna be, like, I don't know. Now my mind is racing because of this shit. Like, this should be alarming to y'all. Like, Thomas Massie, I hope you can see this shit, baby. We praying for you, honey. Because, baby, the only thing that can protect you right now is God at this point. Lord, cover him. Cover him in the name of the Lord. In the Lord's name, amen. Oh my God, this is fucking scary.
This kind of thing is straight out of like Kim Jong-un's North Korea or Vladimir Putin's Russia. A sitting U.S. congressman saying, hey, I don't want to die. I have no desire to off myself. If something happens to me, you probably know what happened to me. A member of Donald Trump's own party is basically going out there and saying, yeah, there's a possibility, because he has been so vocal in pushing for the release of the Epstein files. And he made a statement yesterday that obviously I don't agree with Thomas Massie on everything, but this is pretty clear. If you can't advocate for children that have been trafficked, who can you advocate for? And the harsh reality is no one. There is no one that MAGA cares about other than themselves. There's no one that Donald Trump cares about other than himself. And this is the bottom line of the Epstein files. It is leading to the collapse of an entire global system of power that needs to be brought down. There is no other option other than to take the entire thing down. And Thomas Massie, for playing his part, is now concerned that he may not make it out alive.
Just listen.
For so long now, he's reversing course, and he has the power to release the full files anyway.
It's pretty simple. For 4 months, he thought the best thing for him was to keep the files secret.
and somebody convinced him that the best thing for him was to release the files. And if they're serious about it, they should release them right now. It's that simple.
Why do you think he is working so hard not to get them released for so many months? What do you think the real reason is?
These files implicate billionaires and friends of his and political donors that he's trying to protect. And Epstein also had close ties to our own intelligence agencies and Israel's intelligence agencies.
Oh!
That's why there's so much effort in trying to stop this. And
that is Representative Thomas Massie. That is a Republican saying that the reason this administration refuses to drop the full-fledged 3 million pages of this fucking Epstein file is because Epstein had ties to this intelligence agency and Izzy's. On top of that, there are millionaires and there are upscale people in this fucking book that man don't want to get out. I guarantee you everybody and their fucking mama is calling Wigzar or somebody, man. You better tie this shit up in an investigation. You better tie this shit up in an investigation. Our names better not get the fuck leaked out. Representative Thomas Massie ain't playing because he said if y'all wanted these fucking files to come out, y'all would have done that shit 4 months ago and saved the Republican Party all the humiliation. This shit is gonna cost the Republican Party the midterms. Mark my fucking words.
I just want to say it's insane that a Republican sitting member of Congress tweeted this out 4 hours ago because he is one of the leading voices to get all of these Epstein files released, unredacted, etc. The fact he actually said that, wow.
At this point, I think it's safe to say Thomas Massie is the single only Republican who actually cares about protecting children. And the entire GOP, from top to bottom, hates him for it.
Thomas Massie is a do-nothing congressman, say the haters, but that's bullshit because he got the Epstein files released, which is the most do-something move in American history. And the reason he doesn't pass more legislation is because they all take power away from his corrupt colleagues in Congress so they don't vote for them. Join me in saying thank you, Thomas Massie.
Alright guys, after watching all that, you can really see how divided people are on this. And when I saw that note from Thomas Massie, it didn't sit right with me. When someone feels the need to say, I am not suicidal, I'm in my right mind, my brake works, I know how to swim, that's not a normal statement. That's someone trying to make sure that if anything happens, people won't just accept a simple explanation. And I think that's what really shocked a lot of Americans. Now, a lot of the conversation is tied to the whole situation around the Epstein file. And let's be honest, the case has left a lot of people with questions. Some documents were released, some weren't. Some people feel the truth hasn't fully come out. So when someone publicly connects themselves to knowing more, emotions are going to run high. But here is where I want us to breathe for a second. It's okay to care. It's okay to want transparency. It's okay to feel concerned. I have seen people saying he should leave the country. Some believe he's one of the only people speaking up for victims. And others think it's a political tension playing out online. If Thomas Massie truly feels unsafe, then safety should come first. No political disagreement justify threats, ever. I want to hear your thoughts though, respectfully. Do you think this is serious? Do you think there is more to the story? Let's talk about it in the comments, but keep it mature and thoughtfully. No form of bullying or harassment. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in my next video.